Hello and welcome. This is the instructional video for Punk Fingerboards DIY mold kit and printed veneer. The exact contents of the package will vary depending on what you've purchased, but let's quickly go over the basics. Every mold comes with a template or a shaper with centering pins. Of course, you get the mold itself. And lastly, you should receive some sort of veneer pack. Again, this will vary depending on what you've purchased. Fingerboards, like real skateboards, are built by alternating the direction of the grains on each ply. If you've purchased the full DIY mold kit, you can identify the cross grains because they'll be dyed blue. To prepare for glue up, assemble 3 straight grains and 2 cross grains. Take a look at the printed veneer and take a look at the mold. The mold will be marked which side's the nose. This is where you'll determine which side of the graphic will be facing forward or towards the nose. Prepare the mold itself as shown, with the foam strips and wax paper. This will help protect the veneer from the mold lines as well as glue getting on your mold. When you're done, set aside. We recommend using Titebond 3 Ultimate Wood Glue. It's non-toxic, has good open time, and it's excellent for veneer. The glue up will start with the printed veneer on the bottom, followed by an alternating series of cross grain and straight grain maple ply as shown. To apply the glue, you can use a roller, a brush, or a foam application pad. When applying the glue, use the least amount possible while still maintaining full coverage. Avoiding excess will increase the glue's performance. Hold down the veneer and keep them from shifting while gluing. This will ensure that no glue gets on the printed ply. If you do get glue on the bottom, just wipe it away with a clean finger. Place the veneer in the mold as shown, making sure that it's close to center. Keep in mind the direction of your graphic. Use the wax paper and the foam, and place the top of the mold on the veneer. Make sure you match up the N or the nose on both sides of the mold. We recommend using a vise that has a smooth face. Center the mold in the vise and tighten up the vise. Contrary to popular belief, you do not have to apply that much pressure to this mold. 0.5mm veneer has virtually no resistance to clamping pressure. When you feel the 2 sides bottom out, you're good to go. Alternatively, C-clamps work fine, although we do recommend adding a board in between the clamp face and the mold. This will help evenly distribute the pressure and increase the life of your mold. When loosening the vise, make sure you hold the mold and keep the 2 sides from coming apart. Use a regular cordless drill and a 1/16 inch drill bit and drill the holes in your board using the brass guides in the top of the mold. For safety, set the depth of the bit just enough to go through the veneer. Use low speed here, take your time, and don't apply too much pressure. The bit should move freely in the hole. We do not recommend using a drill press with this mold. Once you're done drilling the holes, it's time to open up the mold. This is where you'll get the first look at your new board. The foam can be used multiple times before it gets too thin and needs to be replaced. The next step is shaping the board. Before using the template, take your 1/16 inch drill bit and just ream out the holes a little bit. Now match the nose of the template to the blank, line up the pins with the holes, and carefully press the two together, keeping your fingers and palms clear of the protruding pins. This should be a snug fit. If there's an excessive gap between the two parts, most likely you have this backward. Use a pencil to trace out the shape. A pen can bleed into the veneer and leave marks on your finished board. The template is the correct size to use as a router pattern, and while this is the most accurate way to shape the board, this is for experienced woodworkers only. Be careful, kids, don't try this at home. Another way to shape the board is with a sander, carefully taking away material until you reach your line. And if you don't have any power tools, sandpaper and a little bit of elbow grease can get this job done just fine. Once the shape is defined, you want to put a small 45-degree bevel all the way around the perimeter on both sides. Shaping boards is an art and takes some practice to get good at. If you're not comfortable using a sander here or simply don't own one, you can always wrap some 100 grit sandpaper around a nail file and do this all by hand. Once the bevels are defined, sand the top and the sides with 180 grit sandpaper. Be careful not to sand the bottom graphic ply. If there are any burrs or rough spots on the bottom, don't worry, you'll sand these off later. The next step is countersinking the truck holes. There are many ways to do this. We found a Dremel number 125 cutter bit works great with a regular cordless drill. Take your time here, making sure you drill perpendicular to the deck. If this is your first time, remove the material in small increments until you reach the desired countersink depth. Once you're done with the countersinking, sand it with 180 grit sandpaper to remove any burrs or rough spots. And congratulations, you're done with the construction of your new board. The last step is applying a finish coat. There are many options here. We're going to go over what we prefer for a high gloss finish. Make sure your board is dust free. We're going to be using Deft Clear Wood Finish. It's an economical choice and it's self-leveling, making it very easy to use. Make sure you have proper ventilation and appropriate protective gear, and give the bottom and sides of the board a really good coat from all angles. Once fully dry, give the top of the board a really good coat, again coming from all angles to get the sides. Once fully dry, flip it back over and hit the bottom with another coat, just like the first. Keep spraying until the board looks wet over the entire surface. Don't worry about drips. You can easily sand those later. Once fully dry, give the bottom and sides a third coat in the same exact manner. Again, spray from all angles to make sure you get a coat on the side. Once fully dry, use 320 grit sandpaper and lightly sand the bottom of the board, the sides, and the top. This is also where you will remove any burrs or rough spots created by the drilling, as well as any drips in the lacquer. Be careful not to go through the lacquer and sand your graphic off, especially near the wheel wells. This is just a scuff sanding for the final coat, so don't sand too hard. The lacquer should develop a whitish haze. Make sure your board is dust free and give it one final coat, just like before. We recommend doing this last coat on a new surface, free of existing dried lacquer. Once fully dry, sit back and relax because you're done. Congratulations. You just built something you're going to remember the rest of your life, no matter how it came out. And remember, nobody gets flawless results the first time. So if yours didn't come out completely perfect, that's okay. Keep building and eventually you'll be able to have results like this. Everything in this video, including molds, veneer, accessories, and more, are available for sale at punkfingerboards.com. Thanks for watching.